Hey mama, are you a multi-passionate mom who is juggling all the things, nursing a baby, battling laundry, trying to keep it together and keep a spicy marriage, and feeling like you're feeling all of it? What's up? I'm Ashley Carroll. I'm here to hold your hand through this process because I believe when you're ready to take control of your life, beat the limiting excuses, step into your own power, you can not only survive, but you can thrive. But you're gonna have to show up for yourself. It's time for me to tough love your way through prioritization, taking self-care seriously, getting rid of excuses, reconnecting with your family, kids, and spouse, and quite honestly, learning to love the chaos because the glory is in the journey. It's in the mess. In this podcast, you will find balance for busy mamas, navigating mom guilt, time management strategies, and everything in between with no fluff and lots of fun. Let's go. Just as a heads up, this episode will be graphic in nature, and I would not suggest you listening to this with kiddos present or where they can hear this episode. Hey guys, what's up? Thank you for listening in to another episode of So She Grows. If you're here, welcome. Today is a little bit different as I want to take advantage of what a special day today is, which is why I did not release an episode on the typical Wednesday that I do. So if you're tuning in at current time, today is July 30th, which is World Against Human Trafficking Day. And I don't normally talk about specific organizations or specific things, events, causes, except for today. I feel like it is necessary and extremely important for me to throw away my typical, lessons and thoughts for you guys that go along with growth and mindset, because this is impactful. This is influencing our children, our world. This is impacting and affecting our lives, the future for our kids, the safety of our kids. And it's something that we have control over, that we can make a difference in, and that we as mothers can stand up for, not only for our children, but for children around the world. And so I want to take this time. Please do not skip this episode. Listen in, because these numbers are going to blow your mind. Okay, first off, if you're like me, you just have always assumed and had your rose-colored goggles on about who is affected by trafficking, and I always thought it legit was majorly an issue in other countries. Like, taken was what I pictured when I thought of human trafficking, and I always thought it was when people traveled, other people took advantage of young girls traveling to other countries on vacation and yada yada. You guys, let me just say, I am so sickened by the fact that the U.S. is the number one distribution for child pornography. Us, guys, not anywhere else in the world. It's happening in our basements, in our computer rooms, in our offices, in our neighbors' offices, in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our cities. It's us, you guys. And we are not only like the number one distributors of it, but we are the number one consumers of rape videos and porn in the entire world. And let me just share some numbers with you guys, because that's what I told you. This episode is going to be all about numbers, because I feel like we need to bring light into this dark area, this dark and evil situation that's going on in the world, like our world, our home, where our kids will be. Every 9 minutes in the U.S., every 9 minutes, a minor is sexually abused. There are 2 million child sex slaves today. So if we thought that slavery was over, we are absolutely wrong. Because modern day slavery, our children, these little kids who have no say, no control over the lives that they're now put in, the danger that they're now put in, is very much alive, obviously. I have been following this organization, Operation Underground Railroad, which was founded by Tim Ballard, a former CIA agent and U.S. government agent, who had retired from his job and career with them to open this nonprofit as a calling that he felt to go into the deepest, darkest places of the world to save and fight for these kids. And what he has done is employed other former CIA, Navy SEALs, military experienced, and former law enforcement people to create teams, operations, and go in, pretend to be online predators, go into actual street affairs that are happening with kids, go in to investigate calls or tips that they've gotten about neighbors who are creepy, and things like that. And they go in and do the dirty work and see the most evil of things and save the most precious of children. So that way these kids will have a chance at healing and life. So here are some numbers based on what they have found and dealt with recently, is that out of their operations, the youngest child that they have saved is 1 year old. Let that freaking sink in for a moment, because I have a 10-month-old who's almost 11 months. I cannot even imagine. I like, my stomach is turning right now. These kids have no control over what's being happening to them. They have no way to say no. They have no way to fight. They have no way to protect themselves. My 10-month-old can barely even walk, much less stop somebody from touching them in inappropriate ways. The oldest trafficker that they were able to rescue was 38, and the average age that they see most of the time is 16. Again, we're talking about babies. These little lives that are forever going to be marked by trauma, abuse, nightmares, PTSD, physical wounds. The thing about this industry, which it is an industry, it's very much alive, as you guys have probably seen on social media, the whole Wayfair ordeal where people were accusing Wayfair of sex trafficking through their items online and naming their items as children's names and it being sold for thousands of dollars. Whether or not that is true or not, that particular situation, that is in fact how some children are exploited and sold and traded. And the way that this industry works, which is a $150 billion industry, by the way. So business for these predators, for these pedophiles, is booming. I can't even, guys. It's hard for me to get through this. Unlike drugs, humans can be sold repeatedly. So over and over and over and over and over and over, a child can go through different handlers, different situations, only to have the same situation, the same nightmare repeated over and over with a different person. On average, one predator can abuse an average of 100 to 200 children in a lifetime. I went to a high school with a graduating class of like 300 and something. So if I was to picture that, one predator, and that is more than 50% of my graduating class that is affected by somebody online, in person, exploited, abused. As we've seen online through other organizations, because there are many organizations, this is one that just personally just pulls on my heart and I feel drawn to speak out for and drawn to be a part of and be an advocate of. Man, they've seen children as young as 6 months old being rescued from sexual abuse and trafficking. And the average age that a child enters the sex trade in the U.S. is 13. That's only 3 years older than my oldest child. And here's another number for you guys that is also very eye-opening, is that 90% of child abuse victims know their abusers. And right now, a statistic that Tim Ballard was recently talking about, because people have been asking him, what's going on with coronavirus and quarantines, and what are you seeing? Like, there's no school right now. There's no a lot of things are closed, no extracurriculars, no clubs. A lot of these kids are home. And well, the scary thing is that yes, your kids are home. So are these pedophiles, these predators. They're on their computers sitting at home as well, because as most of you guys know, a lot of adults are now working from home and we have a lot of extra time on our hands. We have a lot of freedom. We don't have bosses looking over our shoulders. We're in the comfort of our own homes, the privacy of our own homes, doing what we please on our computer screens, and so are our kids. Well, Tim Ballard had mentioned that over this quarantine time span, now that our kiddos are home, online solicitations have increased by more than 40% since COVID. because parents have to work, you guys. Even if we're home with our kiddos, we're working, we need to get things done, and we want to think and feel like we can trust what we're handing our kids, that they're safe. And the truth is, if we're really diligent about what they're on, if we really monitor it, if we put the safety devices in place, if we put the programs that, protect them from these sites and chats and things, that, because it's awful, it's sickening what these people do to really lure in and take advantage of kids online. We have a fighting chance, but it takes a lot of work to do that. And because we're busy, we expect that, as human beings, there would be no such thing, right? Like, I would like to think that these people don't even exist at all, but obviously that's not the case. And with all these kiddos home, well, that makes them the perfect target, and the pedophiles know that. The pedophiles know that, hey, there's billions of kids at home now. This is the perfect time. In fact, there was one child who a predator took advantage of because quarantine happened. He snatched her up right before quarantine happened, so nobody noticed that she was really gone. Actually, I was wrong. It was 2 girls, not just 1 girl. So let me share this story with you guys. It starts at, every day you could count on Camille and Isabella. Names were changed for their protection. Smiling and reaching their hands out to offer you a homemade tortilla at a local market in Central America. These young sisters, ages 13 and 10, worked hard to provide just a little extra money for their mom. A man in his mid-30s began showing up at the market, often days in a row. He took special interest in Camille. He began grooming her, consistently coming by to talk with her and gain her trust. He eventually invited Camille to his home. While hesitant, she was deceived to think it would just be a short visit to get an ice cream and treat. She brought Isabella with her. The day that she walked into that predator's house, her country issued a stay-at-home order due to COVID-19. The predator would be able to easily hide the sisters there for weeks. 6 weeks, in fact. Camille and Isabella's mother was heartbroken when they went missing. She contacted the police and filed reports, and the equivalent of an Amber Alert went out. 6 weeks passed, and these young girls were locked inside, being repeatedly exploited, raped, and filmed. One day, the neighbor caught a glimpse of the young girls. She immediately sensed something was off. She had never seen the girls living with this man before, so she decided to call the police. The police immediately came to the scene and rescued the girls. Thanks to the mother's report, Camille and Isabella were quickly identified. The sick predator who exploited these girls was arrested. Operation Underground Railroad is currently supporting aftercare services for Camille and Isabella as they begin to heal together. If something was going on in your neighborhood, would you be able to recognize the signs of trafficking or exploitation? Camille and Isabella were rescued thanks to the knowledge of their neighbors and their signs and the neighbors' quick action. So knowing that this is happening in our own neighborhoods, in our own states, being that if you're in California, California has 3 of the FBI's 13 highest child sex trafficking areas in the nation: Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego. We're in these places, you guys. You're listening from your home state, from your home city, your hometown, your neighborhoods, and it's happening right where you are. And so you're listening and you're relating, and it makes you sick, and you're hurting, and you want to help, and you want to know how. One of the things that when I was reading that story was, would I have known what to do if Camille and Isabella were next door right now? Would I have noticed? Do I pay attention to my neighbors? Do I pay attention to my neighborhood enough to know that they don't belong there? Or not only do they not belong there, but that they're in danger? I was thinking about this because I have neighbors all around me. And as I go to sleep peacefully at night, what about the parents who can't, right? Because they're wondering what's going on in those homes. Or for me, after I watched the documentary that I highly suggest you guys check out on Amazon Prime, it's called Operation Toussaint. It's extremely powerful. You need to watch it. I promise you won't regret it. But after watching that, trying to go to sleep and just thinking, what I can go to bed at night because my children, I have not allowed them these freedoms yet. They're not of age to be, all over Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and searching the internet freely yet. I can comfortably sleep at night right now. And what a blessing, what a gift that is. Because that's not the case for a lot of parents. Their child is missing, which we know 1 in 7 missing or runaway children end up being a part and called into sex trafficking. But right now I can close my eyes and feel good, feel safe, know that my children are safe, know that they're innocent, right? That their bodies have not been touched in ways that they should not be touched, that they still have their childhood intact, that they can still laugh at Disney movies, that they can still laugh when they play, that they can still trust that people are good, that they can still believe that humans are nice and helpful and safe. They don't know the darkness that is out there yet. They don't know that people tell you lies to hurt you. They don't know that people have the capability, people that they love have the capability to touch them in ways that they shouldn't be touching them. They don't know what it's like to have to tell somebody no while being held down, or to scream stop, or to be told not to tell, or that it's a little secret between the two of them. These are blessings that I hold on to right now very tightly, because I know that in a moment that could all come crashing down. And it has for many parents, obviously. If 2 million children are child sex slaves today, and one abuser can affect 100 to 200 victims or children in a lifetime, my chances are pretty high. I'd like to pray, and I will pray, get on my knees and beg that it's not one of my children. And I have to talk to my kids about this, and I have to prepare them. I have to make sure that they know the difference between somebody who is safe and somebody that is not, and what to do and how not to be afraid. Like, these are conversations that I never as a parent thought that I would be having. These are things that to sit down my kids and tell them that the world has evil people breaks my heart. I never wanted to plan these conversations out in my head, and now I am. So while I have not been affected personally by a child who has been in this situation, and I myself have not been in a situation like this, I feel like if I am going to stand up for something, if I'm going to show my kids that I stand for anything, it's going to be for the kids and the little precious children of the world, the little innocent ones who don't have a voice, who have no way to march in the streets for themselves, who have no way to raise their hands and say, let's make a difference. Like, these are the voiceless people of the world who are the most endangered of the world, because they're kids. They're babies. And like I said before, the youngest that some organizations have found involved in child abuse and child sex acts is 6 months old. That's a baby. Like, how disgusting is that? I can't even wrap my mind around the capability that somebody else has to do that. As Tim Ballard explained in his documentary, it's that it starts off with regular porn. And this is another conversation that we probably need to have as a society, is that we get numbed by porn. And so it starts off as regular porn, and then that doesn't do it for you. And so then you go to younger porn, or you get more niched in your porn, and you start searching for specific things. Well, then teenage porn doesn't give it for you. So then you go younger and younger, and you keep telling yourself, I'll draw the line at 18. Next thing you know, you're looking at 16-year-olds. Next thing you know, they're looking at 10-year-olds. Next thing you know, they're flying to other countries. They're paying for it. They're trying to physically kidnap, take, and abuse children because the online effect is no longer stimulating enough. It's not doing the trick for them enough. And so they need the real thing. You guys, I'm not sharing these things with you because I want to gross you out, or I want to preach at you, or I want to tell you that the world is evil. That's not at all my goal for today. My goal is that we need to be aware that this is going on. We need to be aware that we can speak up for these kids, that we have a job as mothers to protect all kids, including our own, that we need to be having these conversations. And like I said a little bit ago, you're probably wondering what you can do. So as Operation Underground Railroad has suggested, I would suggest these 3 same things. Today is World Against Human Trafficking Day. You can wear blue in support that you know, and also this brings a warning to predators that you know what's going on. This is massively being brought out, and I'm so glad it's being picked up by social influencers and celebrities and regular accounts like you and I, regular people, and we're sharing it to our Facebook accounts because now these predators, these pedophiles, know that we're catching on. We're paying attention. We're ready to fight, and they're not going to get away with this. And so they're seeing memes being put out. They're seeing hashtags being put out. They're seeing us saying, hey, we're going to wear blue. And they can know that we're wearing blue because we're learning about them. We're learning how they work, how they think, what they're doing, what to look out for. So that's just one way. But the 3 ways that Operation Underground Railroad has suggested that you use your time to save these kiddos is to, 1, go to their website, ourrescue.org. So that's OUR rescue.org. And there they have free training set up so you can learn the signs to look out for, the things that you need to know to protect your kiddos, other kiddos, because you're in fact like the watchdog for your neighborhood. And as teachers, as parents, I mean, we're going to have kids coming into our homes, our kids' friends, and we're going to be volunteering at events. And these are things that we can help protect and save a child from ourselves. Like regular people, you and I, we have the power to do that if we know what to look out for. So go to their website, click on the training, get free training, and that will make you a little more prepared. And I feel like that'll help us feel more empowered in our everyday lives to be able to step into these situations a little bit better. The second thing that they suggest you do is to watch their documentary, Operation Toussaint, on Amazon Prime. It's completely free, but not only will you get to see how their operations work, what it is like to put together an operation to save a child, which in fact turns into many children. It's extremely informational, and also it gives you perspective into what these situations really look like tangibly in the U.S. and outside of our borders, as well as what their process is taking care of these people. The thing that I love about Operation Underground Railroad is they're not about just arresting these predators and pedophiles, and then saving these victims and rescuing them, but they're also about having an aftercare program to take care of them, to make sure that they're either reunited with their families, put in a good foster home that will provide healing, and then they provide resources and follow-up for these people and children, so that way they know that they can begin a new life at that point. So they ask that you watch that documentary and then you share it and tell somebody you know to also watch it as well, because the more of us that know about it, then the less chance that we have of becoming a victim to it, our children becoming a victim to it, and also, like I said, we become more aware. The third thing is that you can donate or volunteer to be a part of Operation Underground Railroad. Today, all across the world, they have live demonstrations in thousands of cities around the world, as today is World Against Human Trafficking Day. So if you are in a city and you feel called, you can show up, you can march for these kiddos, you can pray for them. I believe it's a silent, peaceful demonstration. I don't even know that they plan on, walking the streets. I mean, it depends on the city, but I think that they're just coming together to show that this is not going down without a fight. These kids will not be ignored anymore. There are thousands of humans across the world who are ready to stand up and fight for and protect these kids, and these predators need to watch the heck out because we're coming for them. If you're on social media a lot, Operation Underground Railroad has Facebook pages. You can follow them at Our Rescue on Instagram as well, and you can find out all about their teams, their operations, the way that they work. There's tons of information, so make sure you go and check those out, and let's stand up and rise for these children tomorrow and every day for the rest of our lives.